Hi, this is Denise Crosby from Pet Cemetery, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben, it's Heracles, not Hercules. Harley.
Old Heracles, yes. How you doing, Tim?
Not too bad. So, again, in the space-time continuum,
yes.
We're doing a couple of shorter shows. Now, as I explained last week, that ends up being lots of times closer to a normal size show because we end up jibber-jabbering. And so at the beginning of the show, I said, we're going to do a short one, and then we talk a lot. And then, like, last week ended up being still pretty much close to the regular amount of time. So we'll see what we do this week. Due to a lot of going out of towns and things like that's happening. We are going to the Ozarks, Mr. Ben Harley. We are going to Branson, to Table Rock Lake, to ride a duck boat. No, no. Too soon. No.
Too soon? Oh,
you haven't heard about this? There was a tragedy. Oh, you didn't hear about this? Oh, so in Branson, Missouri, it's all over the national news and stuff. There was these two duck boats, and what you know what a duck boat is. It goes over land, and then you go in the water and stuff. Well, they were on Table Rock Lake about a week ago in the space-time continuum. By the time you hear this, it'll be about a month or so. And a storm came up, and one of them capsized, and most everyone died on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, kids and everything, like a mother.
Too soon, Timo.
I know, too soon. But it was a terrible tragedy. So in fine fashion, Timo makes another tasteless joke. So I'm ready to be stoned and crucified. So, just read Leviticus, anything you want to do. They say, I read Leviticus and I said, man, I don't understand why this is a penalty for everything that you do wrong. It says in Jewish law that you're supposed to get stoned. I'm like, well, what's wrong with that? Shoot, I'm gonna go commit adultery all over the place. Figure out give me stoned. I had to figure out that wasn't the same thing.
Yeah, it wasn't right.
Yeah. So that's my Leviticus defense for my joke. But we're doing this, and Harley, I kind of like that in the space-time. I don't like people knowing, when I'm gone. It's probably not the smartest thing to let it out into the entire world when your house will be empty and stuff like that.
No.
I haven't even posted
I got a big dog, though.
Yeah, I do have a dog, and she's ready to go. She will be here. But
she'll rumble to you.
Oh, yeah, she will. And
Snowy will rumble
if you can get past my cat, I was going to say. Yeah, because my cat will look at you first like, don't worry about the dog. You ain't getting past me, pal.
Yeah.
I haven't even posted any pictures of the house or anything on Facebook. I'm a I don't know, quiet person. I'm a private person. I don't like to give up what I'm eating and watching and where I'm living and this. I don't know. It's either bragging or it's letting the info out there, and I'm not comfortable with any of that stuff.
Sure.
Not criticizing anyone else for how they choose to live their life.
Bag.
Just not my bag. So, so I kind of like that it's all mixed up and mashed up. It does make it difficult for us to figure out what the hell we're doing on the show.
Yeah, sometimes it does, yeah.
Because it's confusing to us too. But what I will tell you, in the space-time continuum, in real time, Mr. Ben Harley, tonight, Angio, Chance, and myself are going to go to our Skyview Drive-In. Our local drive-in that's right here.
What are you going to go see?
We are going to go see Hotel Transylvania 3.
Ooh, part 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then if we are still awake and ready to go, the new Jurassic Park movie is playing right after it.
That might be fun.
It might be, but that starts at 10:50 and ends at about 1 in the morning on a Tuesday night. Yeah.
Yikes. Tuesday night. Oh, boy.
So I don't know if we'll hit both the movies.
I'm in bed by 10 o'clock.
I know.
Tuesday night.
I'm mentally in bed. We'll put it that way. So I'm still sitting up awake, but that's real debatable how awake I really actually am at that point in the night. So, but we're going to go do that. And it's the first time this year, probably the only time this year we'll go. But I try to make a point of going at least once a year. or so.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun, buddy. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a nice old fashioned drive. It's pretty cool too. Even like on their website, they have the frequently asked questions and stuff. And there's like, oh yeah, you can bring in alcohol. You can do what you want. You gotta be good. If you cause a problem, we're gonna kick you out, or the cops are gonna kick you out. But
someone's gonna kick you out.
Yeah, but I just think it's kind of cool how they're very libertine about the rules there, and people really do. I mean, really, the biggest problem there is like the jerk sitting on the back of his pickup truck with the stereo blasting.
Yeah,
that's the biggest problems you have there. So but if it happens tonight, Mr. Ben Harley, I am going to tattletale. I'm going to make him.
How you gonna tell?
Yeah,
you gonna tell?
I know it's one jerk that always shows up just to piss everybody off. So, but,
right.
Yeah, so we're going to do another show here. One official film again, and once again, we apologize for any inconvenience it may cause you. Whatever.
Our listening public.
Yes. So we will report back next week how the Hotel Transylvania 3 went. We will report back how the Ozarks went. Did I see
if they're still there?
If they're still there, did I see a Momo or a wood booger? Did I see one?
Momo.
That's right. We will find out because we are going to be in the center of the Ozarks. So you never know, Mr. Ben Harley.
You never know.
Never know. I am.
Keep your eyes peeled.
That's right. This summer I've become a traveling mosquito buffet. Meals on Wheels this year. I'm going to more forested areas. So. Nice. Let's see. Let's get through some stuff I watched here, Mr. Ben Harley. Start off here from 2008.
Ooh,
2008 on Amazon Prime. Watched a made-for-Sci-Fi Channel movie. Always got to stick one of these in there every now and then.
Yeah.
This one was Mosquito Man. Speaking of mosquitoes, so I'm having a mosquito summer. So now this movie was originally titled Mansquito.
Okay.
Yeah. So they I guess for video and everything changed it to Mosquito Man, starring a one Corin Nemec, who's a familiar face if you'd see him.
Okay.
This movie is okay. It's actually got I had this idea of this guy with like antenna coming off of his head and bug eyes running around like beating up people and stuff. No, it's a convict. It's kind of got the same plot as Jack Frost, the Killer Snowman movie, where an evil criminal runs afoul of some chemicals that turns him and morphs him into a giant mosquito. And it's a practical, for the most part. There's a couple digital effects in there and stuff.
Sure.
For the most part, though, it's a lumbering big mosquito. Production value is not too bad, really. Mosquito is done fairly well. So that's okay. That helps. And it's just your average run-of-the-mill silly sci-fi monster movie. It is not an asylum film. And if you watch this movie, it does show you, it does show you there's a difference. There is a difference. Yeah. This was not that bad. It was okay. Okay, so anyway, it's called Mosquito Man on Amazon.
Nice.
Fun little time waster if you're doing other stuff and you're not expecting to be blown out of your seat, to watch the movie. But what blew me away is it's just sometimes you watch these sci-fi movies and it's, I guess, kind of up there with like Mammoth and Larva, those movies that we watched. That were okay. There's something to them. But the practical effects is something that I really enjoyed seeing this. So again, Mosquito Man. Here's a fun one. You're going to like this. I kind of waiting to talk about this a little bit. From 1986. Okay. I went back and watched a movie, a trauma movie that I saw back in 86, 87 on the VHS shelves, and I rent it every now and then. A movie called Blood Hook. Okay.
Seen that one or not? Yeah.
Well, it's the front of it's got a woman in a bikini getting pulled off a boat by a fishing lure. And it is a fisherman slasher movie where a guy is going around with a giant lure and he's killing people by casting the lure and dragging them out and doing stuff and killing them. And then he puts the dead people on a stringer and puts them underneath a dock to marinate, basically. So it's very low budget, shot in Wisconsin. But when I was a kid, I remember there was just something about it. Something creepy. Something. And the guys on the stringer under the boat are downright spooky looking. I mean, the corpses are great. They're amazing in it. It is a silly premise. It's all around a fishing tournament. So people have gone damn mad and insane because they're not winning this tournament and they have to kill people and blah, this and that. What's funny about it is directed by a one gentleman. Now this name is gonna ring a bell. I don't know if you're gonna zero in on it right away. You might.
Okay.
Directed by a gentleman by the name of Jim Mallon. Mallon. Jim Mallon. Does that sound familiar to you at all?
Yes, it does.
I'd like to refer to him as Jim Gypsy Mallon. He is the producer of Mystery Science Theater. And he also played Gypsy.
Did he? Okay, nice.
And he made a Mystery Science Theater worthy movie. And Mr. Ben Harley, the key grip on this film. I know a lot of things, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yeah, you do.
The key grip on this film was a Mr. Kevin Murphy, otherwise known as Tom Servo.
Tom Servo, yeah, nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It's on Prime. Go check it out. It's like it's kind of goofy and kind of silly, but they made a movie. And you see this giant lure just like land on people without any kind of like warning. Gotta be out there fishing. All of a sudden, it's like this giant. It's a huge lure. Huge. It's like basically for catching sperm whale. Okay, and it lands on people and kills them and stuff. So pretty goofy stuff.
That's funny.
Typical trauma stuff, but not typical trauma produced. This was not. They bought it. Trauma bought The Children, the movie The Children, the really cool, creepy old movie with the kids with black fingernails. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
So this is like that. Like they bought this movie. It's definitely closer to a trauma film than The Children is. But still, I had a little bit of fun going back and watching it. I mean, I have to admit, it's not a great movie. It's not even a good movie. But to sit there and think, it's probably Kevin Murphy holding that lure off camera and stuff like that. I thought it was kind of a interesting thing. And for as much as I make fun of Wisconsin, they had to go across the border into Wisconsin from Minnesota to make the movie. So so again, it is called Blood Hook.
Okay.
Let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley from here's one. This is a bright and shiny film from the year 1918.
Oh my God. Yeah.
From 1918, Mr. Ben Harley. That's right. I'm back into the silent era.
Yeah. I say you're feeling right at home.
That's right. I watched a movie that is on Amazon Prime called, you might have heard of this. It. It's called Tarzan of the Apes.
Ooh, nice.
I think
I've heard of that.
The first filmed version of Tarzan.
Wow.
Starring Elmo Lincoln.
Ooh, yeah.
So apparently, here's a story about Elmo Lincoln. Apparently, Elmo Lincoln was a extra and a bit player for D.W. Griffith, who made a little film called Birth of a Nation that had absolutely no controversy whatsoever around it. But he's also known as the godfather, the father of modern film, D.W. Griffith. He knew how to make a movie, whether or not his political sensibilities were a little off, I don't know, but people should watch Birth of a Nation. It's a very interesting movie. Just try to keep your emotions down a little bit when you're watching it, because there are parts where you're like, oh man, come on. I don't care. Yeah. You might have a swastika tattooed on your arm and you'd still look at this movie and go, whoa. But anyway, so he was doing a fight scene, this Elmo Lincoln who played Tarzan. He was doing a fight scene, and apparently during the fight scene, he was an extra, just in a crowd of people fighting. Apparently his shirt got torn. And I don't know what was up with D.W. Griffith, but apparently he looked over at Elmo Lincoln and said, "That's a hell of a chest you got there." You know how many times I've heard that? You know how many times I've heard that, Ben Harley? I mean, seriously, my wife.
Every day.
They don't call me barrel chest for nothing. Or tittles. Right. Or tittles. They don't call me tittles or the eyebrow guy. They don't do it for nothing. Nothing. I'm telling you right now. Right. Yeah. It's so amazing how handsome and good looking I can be with all those strikes against me. Anyway,
you pull it off well, my friend.
Right. So he's a very big man, and what's neat about it, he, in 1918 wasn't a whole lot of health spas and gyms and stuff. So he was just a naturally big guy.
Yeah.
And this some pretty funny hair on him too. Not too bad. It's a little weird. It's 1918. They did shoot it down in Louisiana, and apparently that's where the swinging from the vines thing came from.
Really?
And there was no vines, I don't think, in the book or anything. This happened to me in Louisiana where there was a lot of moss and vines. I thought, well, that'd be kind of cool. Let's just get it from point A to point B. Yeah, and use those vines over there. So that's where that started. That's where that started. Awesome. So not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, it's a curiosity.
Yeah,
it's another curiosity. Yeah. So it's only like an hour long or something like that. Ends very abruptly. And apparently
as they all do.
Well, and apparently the story goes, the actual book Tarzan, he goes back to society and stuff. And they realized, that nobody gave two shits about that. So they basically made the film and they edited out all of the stuff where he goes back to civilization and just cut the movie like that. And then they did a sequel, I think called like Tarzan's Romance or something. And that's where Tarzan goes back to, and nobody liked it. It broke even, basically. The first one that I saw was a huge major hit. And the one where he goes back to Greystoke, there's only like 10 minutes of jungle scenes in it. And they basically figured out. Yeah. Well, they basically figured out if you don't have jungle scenes in a Tarzan movie, you're out. So
you're in big trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't there Tarzan in Manhattan or something like that? Tarzan New York. I'm pretty sure it was a Tarzan New York in the 80s movie. Yeah. So, I mean, interesting. Tarzan and the Apes. Let's see, Mr. Like Ben Harley. Here's what I wanted to talk to you about. I watched a film that is also on Amazon Prime. Okay. And I'm going to admit to you, I didn't think I'd ever heard of this. Now, when I watched it, I was like, wait a minute. Maybe I have seen this because things look really familiar. But the film itself is called Attack of the Super Monsters.
All right.
It's a 1982, I got finger quotes up, movie that is it's a piece of art basically edited from a 1977 Japanese television series where there are basically what happens is dinosaurs come back to life. They are super intelligent and they talk. And they have looked like they have about a quarter of the budget of a Gamera movie.
Yeah.
So basically, these giant T-Rexes saying, "Ha ha, Earthlings, stupid people." So they're basically Snidely Whiplash dinosaurs that need to destroy humanity. They have to do it for some ungodly reason, and the only people who can save them are this basically like an Ultraman force of good guys, but those are anime. So every time they show like the heroes and stuff, it's a G-Force looking cartoon.
Wow.
And then the dinosaurs and all that stuff is live action. So it's basically G-Force anime versus cheap talking dinosaurs, and a brother and sister morph into hermaphrodite superbot being that flies a special space weapon.
Wow. Okay.
You heard me, and you heard me right.
I guess I did.
This was like woo-vey-voo. Like, woo. So, again, it's called Attack of the Super Monsters. I kind of think you might want to take a look at it, Ben.
Yeah, I think I might, man.
Nothing else. Just to remind yourself, it ain't
giggles,
that bad.
Least, yeah.
Right?
No, things aren't that bad.
Right.
Step away from the cliff. Things are not that bad, yeah.
Exactly. And then, Mr. Ben Harley, I went on a freak out.
Ah, nice.
And I went on a freak out that I think you're going to like, because I've been going on this freak out a little bit lately, and it's a John Carpenter freak out.
Ah, attaboy.
So let's start out with the little movie he made in 1978 called Halloween.
Halloween.
NGO and I sat down and went back and watched Halloween. Mr. Ben Harley, NGO is the only human on the face of the earth whose first movie who I watched with this person was Halloween. Yeah. And what is Halloween, Mr. Ben Harley?
The best movie ever.
That's my favorite movie ever, at least. I think it's the best movie ever made.
Well, I was speaking for you, Tim.
All right, very good. But it's my definite favorite film of all time. And so that's very special. The first thing that I ever watched with who became my wife was Halloween. And she hated horror films at the time. I was just scared of him. Didn't hate him, just didn't want to watch him.
Well,
or whatever.
right. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, well, I set her straight, so.
You set her cork a bobbing.
Yeah, she won't mouth off to me anymore, so.
That's right.
Just quit sassing me. Just a thoroughly enjoyable time just watching this movie. And I like watching it now as a huge fan and just watching the little detaily things. You know, the walk by the camera, he's in the background. The walk back, he's gone. And all that kind of stuff. Really, it's just such an enjoyable, good movie. And just makes me think about where it's gone.
Yeah.
You know, where everything is gone. I'm just like, oh, my God, you know. And then thinking about all these reboots and remakes, thinking, just show this thing. Just let people see this thing. You've muddied up the waters to the point. I don't even know if people watch the original Halloween if they realize they're watching the original Halloween anymore.
No.
They've muddied up the waters so much with this stuff. So,
it's a shame. It's a shame.
Man, what a good time going back and watching. I did watch it on Blu-ray. This is an older Blu-ray I have, and there's a lot of Blu-rays. It's like Evil Dead 2 I mentioned last week. The economy will fall apart if they don't release this twice a year. I need to get a newer Blu-ray of this, but because it looks good. But I want another. I want another transfer. I want a little bit of a nicer transfer than what I have. I don't even know which one I have. There's so many of them, but I got one of them, and I want a little nice transfer. But it was still great to watch. So we were watching that, and I was, of course,
the goods.
Oh yes, and of course I was talking through the film about this and that and what have you. Talking about the actors in the film and that person. That person was in Assault on Precinct 13. Oh, Angie goes, I don't think if we've watched that, she said, I think we've only watched it once. I said, what? Assault on Precinct 13. I said, So when we were done with Halloween, Mr. Ben Harley from 1976, we watched Assault on Precinct 13.
Nice. All right.
So,
boy. What a night.
Well, I waited the whole movie for them to get to Precinct 13 because they're at Precinct 9 in the film Division 13.
That's right. Yeah.
The producers thought it sounded creepier to call it Assault on Precinct 13. I can't remember the name of it had a couple different names or whatever. Really, a couple interesting things about this movie. First of all, man, does it hold up too? Is it a lot of fun? I mean, it's fun. The only couple things is like there's some shots when they're looking out the front of the police station, and like Austin Stoker, the African American gentleman, the star of the film, basically he's kind of going back and forth shooting and then taking cover and shooting, and every time he takes cover and he backs up against the wall, the entire cardboard facade starts shaking back and forth. There's things like that that I was noticing. But what was really interesting is I like Austin Stoker a lot. He's kind of a character actor in the 70s, and you'll find him pop up and stuff. The guy that was playing, I can't think of his name offhand. The tough guy, the tough prisoner guy, the Western archetype. He was the guy that worked in the morgue in The Fog. So it's kind of neat to see Carpenter bring back some of these people too.
Yeah, I like that. That was cool.
Yeah, and reuse them and stuff. I thought the movie would have been a little more interesting if Austin Stoker had been the tough prisoner and the other guy would have been the cop. Switched the roles. I don't know. I mean, if I said that out loud, somebody would probably call me racist. Are you a black guy? No, I kind of think he was a better actor. But at the same time, the guy constantly asking if you have a smoke and everything, it's pretty cool. And I'll tell you something else. The gal in that film, the tough broad in that film.
Yeah.
Whoo! Man, is she nice to look at. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Wow.
That's funny.
Good gravy is she good looking at. So, man, big doggy. Fun to watch, though. A lot of fun to watch. I really enjoyed going back and watching this John Carpenter stuff. And it really reminds me, Mr. Ben Harley, why I loved movies so much from back then. They really put the camera down, lit it in a really interesting way.
Oh, yeah. And they made scenes work.
Oh, God, did they? They told you a story, and it was, what a great time to live, I mean, just to see all that stuff. The one thing that always bothered me about this movie, and this is tied directly to you, Mr. Ben Harley, is the guy, I don't know how much you remember Assault on Precinct 13, so I'm going to pick at your memory here.
Yeah.
The guy, one of the main gang leader guys, the white blonde guy in the movie, real creepy looking dude, right? Looks like a jerk, I was like, I'm convinced that's the guy from Laser Blast. I'm just convinced it's the kid from Laser Black. So I looked it up. No, it's not.
No.
But what was bugging me is I recognize him because he is the guy from Escape from New York with the big bushy hair, the little like troll guy with the big bushy hair goes, who tells Lee Van Cleef, we got the president. You come in, we kill him. You do this, we kill him. He's like basically the mouthpiece. You know what I mean?
For the
Duke.
King of New York.
The Duke.
Duke.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Again, Carpenter using one of his guys that he had used before. Yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. So I was mistaken, but was very fascinated to find out that's the same guy because I knew I recognized him.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know that guy from somewhere. And he's got all that makeup and stuff on in Escape from New York. And he also has, I think, shark teeth.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But good time, Mr. Ben-Hur. I really enjoyed going back and watching some of my favorite John Carpenter films. Good times. That's all I got. What you got, Mr. Ben-Hur?
Well, Timo, I don't have a whole lot either, buddy. I did go back. I got a nice little note from Danny Hicks, actually.
Whoa.
He, a lot of love letter, but close. Yeah, no, Danny. It was funny. Danny, he said, "Ben, I'm watching Jaws on. I think he was watching on the Discovery Channel. He said it was the first time he's watched Jaws in its entirety or whatever since it came out, and he saw it in the theater. And so we had a nice little conversation about that. And he said, "Man, I forgot how good of a movie this is, And so we talked a little bit, but I know they put up all the, the Jaws catalog on Amazon Prime.
Yes.
And so I watched, the other day I was trying to watch it on my Apple TV. It just wasn't jiving real well. But I watched it on my iPad. Got a little over halfway through it. And it actually was kind of fun watching it because I had my headphones on. And you hear so much more things too, And man, I tell you what, talk about being someone who knows how to set up a scene or make a movie. If you just look, just watching Jaws from a camera perspective, or like just how you set up a scene, is just insane.
Right.
Like I maybe it's because I'm watching on the iPad and the widescreen, but I just. And plus, too, I understand they had a lot of time to work with things. You know what I mean? But if you want to know how to make a film, watch about 5 minutes of Jaws and see how to set up a scene and how a scene works and how it flows. And I actually, I've been watching these movies my entire life.
Right.
But man, he basically, it's like a song almost, I guess, and or a painting. But he'll take you from... For instance, when Quint's getting ready to get onto his boat, it goes from Quint walking out. He says something to Hooper. Hooper makes, a face at him. And then Quint turns, goes back to the camera angle changes. Everybody's still pretty lined up to where they were before. And just the way everything flows from him walking to his, from his house to the boat and the conversation, everything, it has a flow to it. It's not a bunch of, all right, here's Quint walking out. Stop. Okay, here's Quint talking to stop. Here's Quint getting on the boat. Stop. No, it flow. Man, it's just I don't know, for some reason the whole time I'm watching it, I watched every scene and he does it a lot of the way that I try to set up a lot of my artwork, especially growing up, is, and we've talked about this, Timo, too, and nowadays with real 3D in movies, you have your foreground, middle ground, and background. And man, does Spielberg use it well in Jaws. It's just unbelievable. So it's a lot of fun. I said, I'm just to the point where they're getting ready to go out, hunting for Bruce.
Right.
But man, what a great movie! What a great movie, and it was fun. And I'm glad Danny reached out to me and. Danny's a tough old cuss sometimes, young cuss.
Oh, it's movies, you kidding me? Yeah.
So for him to say that was nice too, and how much he enjoyed it. Because it is, I tell you, it's a great movie.
It is.
Minus the shark. It's a great film.
Right.
It's fun. It's got a little bit of everything. It's got some comedy. It's got some dark humor. It's got horror. Now there is a lot of Hitchcock, and you can tell from Duel to this, he had a style then, and I liked his style. I think more in Duel and Jaws than I do in Close Encounters and Raiders of the Lost Ark. Does that make sense to you? To me, it's a style, and I enjoy his original style. It's a lot of Hitchcock influence, but there's a little bit more there too, So
we both watched our favorite movie this week, basically.
Yeah,
because mine's Halloween, yours is Jaws. Not that you don't love Halloween, I don't love Jaws. You know I love Jaws, and I love.
I know.
And I think Halloween, or Jaws, I should say, more so than Halloween, Jaws is a happy accident. You know what I mean? It's like the shark didn't work, which caused them to film it different.
They thought their careers were over.
I know. And but it works so good that it doesn't work. That didn't work. Right. And then for them to shoot on the open ocean, which is unheard of. Like all the crew was like, "You out of your minds?
You're insane."
Yeah, and he was, but it worked, and it did. It helped, and then just the story was written well. And the other thing too, the two other secret weapons, and I think these are two of the major secret weapons for Star Wars are the music and the editing.
Yep.
Music and editing of Jaws is like a big secret weapon.
Yeah.
And Halloween. Huge. And Halloween. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What's funny is I don't recognize, which is odd. Music is the last thing for me to be interested in a movie. It just is for some reason. I don't care that much about it. But I started to realize when we were watching Halloween, I do care about it. It just depends on the film. And Assault on Precinct 13. It just
and
kind
if it adds to a film, it doesn't take from a film. Yes. It becomes part of the fabric of the film. And I think with Jaws, what taught them a lot too, and Spielberg, he didn't see it when when John Williams showed him the score. He was like, huh? Or the theme. What?
Yeah. He thought it was a joke.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But the thing is, it did work because when the shark. You couldn't show the shark. All you have to do is play those notes. And what more famous notes have there ever been written? You know what I mean? Really, it's not. Same thing with Halloween.
Right.
You play the Halloween theme, people are like, huh?
Right.
First thing you do, what? Where'd that come from? Or people are like, even people that don't like Halloween,
right?
You play that theme, it's on. Yeah, so it is a testament to what a theme song can do for a movie. Completely. So, yeah. Well, Tim, the other thing I got for you, buddy, is, well, I don't want to talk too much, get your blood pressure up or anything, but
no, here we go.
I did watch a little bit on that Access TV. They had trailers, it's called Nothing But Trailers. And so I was watching one, it had the trailer for Halloween on there, which I'm still kind of out to lunch. I really don't care about the movie itself.
Right.
I really do care, though, that it looks like Michael Myers. That's the only thing I keep keying on, that it actually, for the first time since 80, when part 2 came out.
81, I think.
That it actually looks like The Mask. It looks like, it moves like him and stuff. So that, I'm excited about that, but, I'm going to go in with real low expectations on it,
Well, I heard that Nick Castle's not playing Michael Myers. Yeah, the shape. Yeah. Oh, me and Angie had to talk about that too, how there was no Michael Myers. It was the shape.
No, the shape. Yeah.
It was the shape. Michael Myers is gone. Michael Myers was credited as the kid.
Yeah.
And Nick Castle was the shape. And that's what they called him, either the boogeyman or the shape. And I said, and then after time went on, people's names got cool, like Jason Voorhees. And I told her, I was like, nobody knew Jason's last name for years. No, unless you're a nerd like Jason. Us. I mean, you would know. But besides that, no, it's Jason or Michael. Or something like that. But now the shape never caught on. The shape only caught on with like horror fans, but the general population did not. But anyway, reeling myself back in, I had read that Nick Castle's not playing the shape. He just has got a cameo or something possibly in it. But I don't know. I mean, I'm seeing this stuff come out, and it's almost like what you said. I don't really care either.
No.
It's like if it's really good, I'm going to be really happy.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not even it's so sad. It's not even that's a Halloween movie. It's just that there's a good horror movie out there.
Right.
I mean, I'll be happy for that, but I'm not holding my breath either for any of this stuff.
Me either. No, neither. So they had that on there, and then they had a couple other trailers. They're doing a movie called Bohemian Rhapsody about Queen.
Yeah.
Looked fairly interesting. My only thing with that, just like the Doors movie and stuff, it's got a key around Freddie Mercury,
right.
Freddie saying, here we go. Freddie Mercury to me was not Queen. All right. Ozzy Osbourne was not Black Sabbath. You know what I'm saying? I like Ozzy a little. I like Freddie Mercury. I happen to like Queen quite a bit.
I do too.
You know, I don't want to just see a movie about him.
Right.
Either, you know what I mean?
Right.
If it's about Queen, let's let it be about Queen.
Right.
And I'm a Brian May fan. That's so. But so that looks it looks good though, and the guy they got playing him looks an awful lot like him. So
I've heard that.
You know, and that for me is makes it a little easier to watch.
Surprised it isn't Anthony Hopkins.
Oh, geez, exactly. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. Will Ferrell, maybe. Who knows?
Right, yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Right,
you know.
Yeah. So, but you know, so that looks mildly interesting.
Yeah.
I know they talked years ago. I don't know if that was fake news, but Scorsese was supposed to do the like a Ramones movie or something about the. I don't know if that. I haven't heard anything else about that, but I do like the movies about bands and so I like Sid and Nancy. I thought it was good.
Right.
So we'll see. You know,
I get a little hot under the collar when they don't represent the band life in a realistic way. And I always tease people. It's like the one movie that I saw that really I thought was a lot like being in a band was That Thing You Do, the Tom Hanks movie. And I go, not the bubblegum stuff surrounding it, just the internal action between the guys in the band was probably the closest thing to reality that I can recall. I know I've seen something better than that, but that was pretty close. How the different personalities were really what broke the band up, you know, the kind of thing. Yeah,
and being thrust into that, you know, limelight, stuff. So, and how you deal with it, but
and how you start, and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, that looks pretty good. But other than that, Tim, that's about all I got this week.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's get to our official film for this week, Mr. Ben Harley.
Right,
we got
buddy.
a doozy this week. Got something a little different.
We do.
Sure do.
We've
got from 1974, the film that goes by the title of Knife for the Lady.
Western, too.
Yes, a Western horror film of some sort here. Let me get you a plot summary here. Get out, movie guy. We'll get to this and we'll discuss Knife for the Lady.
All right.
Yeah. All right, here we go. A mutilating knife-wielding killer haunts a small southwest desert town of Mescal. Though most victims have been prostitutes, the first was Travis Mescal, the only son of the town's first family. When the sheriff proves unable to solve the case, the town leaders invite investigator Burns to unravel the mystery. Along the way, he confronts tension with the sheriff, trouble with some citizens, and finally, a killer whose motive we've heard before in Ripper lore. Okay.
That's funny.
Yeah. I'm going to put it out real simple for everybody, okay, listening, because I think you know what this means. This is a Western giallo movie. Right down to the black gloves.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So, and the reason that this was even went across my eyes, to be quite frank, is that the poster art for this movie is great.
Yeah,
really neat poster art. Very, very cool. And also, it's got Jack Elam in it. And
true.
I'm pretty sure he was reading the script on the wall while he was facing the other guy and delivering his lines in this movie. It's also got Gene Evans in it, who I actually picked out as a cantankerous, kind of chubby, balding, like middle-aged guy. He played Hooker, the guy Hooker.
Yeah.
In it. Yeah. And Gene Evans was in one of those creepy Killer Kid movies. I can't remember exactly which one. But for some reason, it always sticks in my mind. And I'm the weirdo in the room watching an old television program or movie going, hey, it's Gene Evans. Everybody looks like, well, who's Gene Evans? You know, like, so anyway, yeah. But
married to Dale Evans?
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. And then Jeff Cooper is the 70s haired cowboy guy.
Yeah, he looks out of place in this movie.
He does.
The hair.
Well, you know, this guy, they tried to make him, first of all, he's Canadian. Enough said.
Okay.
But he played like Kaliman, which was like this Far East superhero kind of guy.
Yeah, Kaliman.
Yeah, and he was in Circle of Iron with David Carradine, which was sort of a a fantasy kung fu kind of movie from the 70s. Jeff Cooper's a guy they tried with, and it didn't really work out too good. I don't think he was really ever a draw. But he's got the looks. No, he's got the looks, like, for it and stuff. And he doesn't look too...
He's got the looks for Love Boat episodes.
Actually, I'm pretty sure he was at least in Wonder Woman. The show Wonder Woman. So, yeah, he was definitely did some TV stuff, too. We also have... this was great. This was another person. Gene Evans was one person that I blurted out where I thought Angie was going to leave the room. The other one was Ruth Roman. All right. Okay. Now, Ruth Roman played the mother of the rascally guy that was hidden away. Yeah. Let's just put it that way. I'll just leave it there. And I knew right away who that lady was. That was the creepy mother from The Baby. Yeah, the movie The Baby. Right. So I had that one down there. Yeah, there we go. I mentioned Jack Elam, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we got Jack Elam. Exactly right. I always thought I actually was laughing while we were watching this, and I was like, Jack Elam. I was like, I will never forget the time that Ben Harley was trying to be PC, trying to say that he had a glass eye, and he couldn't figure out what to do, and said he had a nice eye.
A nice eye. Yeah.
And to this day, I call a glass eye a nice eye.
Yeah.
Him, Sammy Davis Jr.,
funny.
And Shannon Van Meter. Those guys,
all three have nice eyes.
Nice eyes. And they do. So
they do, yeah.
So that's what this is. It is a Western giallo. Yeah. They bring in Jeff Cooper as a more of a modern technique detective to try to discover who is knifing the ladies.
Yeah, yep. And it's funny though. He just, for me, he looks so out of place in this though. Like, I mean, if they just gave him like a different outfit or a haircut or a hat, it might have helped him a little bit. Because he looked so out of place.
Or a different co-star.
Something, yeah.
Looking out of place next to Jack Elam.
He's always looking out of place. Literally, right?
Yeah, looking all over the place. Yeah,
he's looking all over the place. Yeah. But like other than that, I didn't really mind the rest of the actors and stuff. It's not that he's a bad actor. I just thought he was really out of place, in this movie. And,
he's kind of cookie cutter kind of actor.
Yeah, I'm a little weird about that with my westerns. You know?
Oh,
like, it has to look a certain way.
Sure, absolutely.
But I was interested enough because you don't get too many Western horror movies. So
no, you don't.
Going into this, I was kind of excited, about seeing it. And you're right, it is like a total giallo movie.
Yeah.
Just the pacing of it.
Yes.
The way it's shot and everything.
It looks Italian.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. But I thought the movie itself was okay. It's not like super gripping or anything.
Right.
It's not super gory either, but it's got a good enough story to it. Mm-hmm. And I you kind of feel for Jack Elam's character because he's been trying to solve this one murder for a while, and then that upstart comes in with his ugly hair, his 70s hair.
Yeah,
and he's
BG's wannabe guy. Yeah,
and they have a nice little dust up too.
Yeah, they
end up brawling pretty good, and it's so funny. I always notice in movies they put Jack Elam a lot with kids. He acts well with them. You know what I mean? And I notice in this same thing too, just like was it Night of the Grizzly and stuff. He acts really good with kids, and he had another one in this, that was like his little sidekick at times, which I enjoyed that too. I thought they were funny.
It kind of lets you know that Jack Elam's not a bad guy because he looks like one. He's not a handsome cuss, So
no, he's cantankerous too.
Yeah.
So you drank a little in the movie, right? You like to drink a little.
Yeah. I think I drank a little watching it, but yeah.
Yeah. But as far as the horror part goes, it's not bad. I think it mixed well. Mm-hmm. It's not too harsh of a contrast. So I enjoyed that too. I thought they did that well. The cover art was cool, but it does kind of give away the killer a little bit. Sort of. Not really. You don't know.
It gives away. I think what it gives away is a twist. The ending is a hell of a lot like the Old Dark House.
Yeah.
It's really strange. It's like it goes from giallo to gothic, kind of like back and forth. And there's a lot of gothic giallo to it too.
Sure.
It's basically Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, and I don't want to give away stuff again, but it is because this also has a reveal at the end. But it's really close to Friday the 13th in a lot of ways, to be honest with you.
Sure.
I agree with you. It's not compelling enough because at an hour and 26 minutes, it feels closer to an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. It does.
It has a hard time keeping you involved in it. And I think they're over introducing the characters. They're over characterizing people almost in a way. It doesn't really know what it wants to be totally. It's not a good enough Western story. I think it's a little light on the horror end of it.
Yeah, me too. They could have used, and I mean, they did, some of it was pretty good, but I think they could have used a couple more scenes of horror or something.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just sort of like once you start looking at it like it's a horror film, it shifts over to Western. And the other thing is, and then it shifts over to something Gothic. It's just hard because it's hard to hang on to one thing before you have to let go to get to the other part of the movie. So you sort of are left there kind of like, what do I got? What's going on? I mean, in a way, it's almost like, what am I watching? You know? And the other thing too is that Code Red put this out, and there's something with Code Red and Amazon, because this is on Amazon Prime. And I don't know how the stream was for you, but the first 20 minutes or so of this stream was just unwatchable. There's some kind of jittery thing that happens in the upload from some of these companies, and it almost always happens on Amazon. I don't know what the hell their problem is, but they all need to figure this out because it basically looks like it's a Viewmaster. It's like tick, 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 tick. There's no flow to the motion at all. There's some kind of weird clipping that happens. I don't know what it is, but it was terrible. It did even out because I was about ready to throw something out a window watching this thing too. And I don't know where my DVD of this is either. I've got it on DVD somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. I might have just gave you my DVD if you have it. I don't know if you have it or not, but I don't know what happened to mine. It's a DVD Bob special. And I
watched it on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay, I watched it on Amazon too. Now it did even out a little bit. The audio's got some crackling in it too, which is much worse on the DVD version. They did kind of taper that down for the stream. It seemed like, at least to me. But the other thing too is I remember when I sat there and watched this, and I was looking at the henchmen. Yeah, and I'm an NFL fan. Ben Harley, you know that. I'm an NFL historian fan. And I was like, that is Fred Biletnikoff from the Raiders. It is.
Was it?
It is. It's Fred Biletnikoff from the Raiders. Yes, the Raiders Super Bowl MVP receiver, Fred Biletnikoff, was the guy with the long face, the guy with the longer nose. It was Fred Biletnikoff. He was one of the henchmen in this film. No explanation how the hell he got involved in this and what was going on. But he was in it. I guess maybe the fact that he played for the Raiders out there in California helped him get to the set easier, I suppose. Sure. It's just not a very intriguing mystery.
No, not really. I mean, they could have amped it up maybe a little bit more. And then that's the whole thing, like we're saying. It just needs a little more horror. Yeah. Once the reveal happens, it's all right. I mean, it was okay, but a little too quick. And for what the buildup was, it should have been a little bit more, maybe more. I don't know. It's just not. It didn't zing me or like.
There's no big battle at the end or anything.
No,
it just says, here it is, over.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Right, and that's what kind of an old Jack Elam. Boy, talk about a guy who's got a face for radio.
Oh,
that
sure
stormy cemetery scene. Yikes! Oh, lordy! And the other thing that I always thought was odd about this film is there's something weird where it feels like it goes back and forth between a Disney style feel, Western feel, like almost Apple Dumpling Gang feel, then way over to like a spaghetti Western feel, and then back to giallo, and it keeps like ping ponging you around a little bit. Yeah. But I will say it's interesting, and I had never heard of this until a couple years ago, and which I always find that interesting. I mean, I always find interesting. Look at, but most of the time, and this movie is really not an exception to that. Most of the time, there's a reason. There's a reason I haven't heard of it. There's really not much of a reason to watch it. That being said, I can't be that hard on this movie because it has Jack Elam in it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. And Fred Biletnikoff in the same movie in a slasher Western. I think the movie had a good idea and had some good pieces to it. It's just not a great film. I'm going to give it just I'm on the fence. I'm like, it's okay. Maybe worth watching. I do think a horror. Here's what I think. I think if you're a fan of giallo, if you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of Westerns, or even if you're a fan of the Raiders, by the end of it, you're going to be disappointed in what you like. And I don't know too many people that seek out all four of those mashed together usually in a film, So I think that it's just a little disappointing to me. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, but it feels like it's about 20 minutes longer than it is too, which is never a good thing. Never a good thing. Yeah. What do you think?
Well, Tim, I'm the same thing. I'm going to give it a mild grape ape up. Same thing as last week, I guess, the movie. It just, I liked it, and I appreciate the fact that they made a horror Western. And I appreciate how it was shot and things like that. I just think it needed a little bit more. Maybe just a few more scenes of horror, or maybe the ending a little bit more. I probably could say I give it, a little higher up the grape ape chart, but just a mild one for right now. I did enjoy it. I also think I would score it higher if they would have had someone a little bit better in the main role.
Oh, Jeff Cooper guy's character.
Yeah. So, and it's not that he was bad. He just looked out of place. Give the guy a haircut, man. Do something to make him. Come on. Now, I know it was the 70s and you don't want to mess with people's hair or whatever, but come on. Then cast somebody else, man, or put a hat on the guy.
He looked like he was in the band Sorcery a little bit.
Yeah, he did. And he just didn't look like he was in. Everybody else looked like they were from the West except for him.
Yeah.
And even when they put him in certain clothes,
or something like that, like somebody's got kind of a home downy kind of feel to him, but you can still imagine he's intelligent.
Sure,
that would work. I do believe. I think Jeff Cooper was a bit miscast. Something tells me he may have been cast because they were trying to. They were pushing him a little bit, trying to see if he would work. Or whatever. I mean, I understand that. Yeah.
Sure.
Like I said, if you're watching the stream and it's getting bad on you, if you want to stick with it, at least on my end, it got better. I don't know how the stream was on your end. It was pretty bad in the first third of the movie.
It wasn't too bad. It was okay.
Okay. It got better as it went.
Yeah. I watched most of it on my iPad and it worked pretty well.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe it was just the platform I don't know, watching or whatever. So, but all right, Mr. Ben Harley, let's get out of here. I don't know what we're doing next week, but we'll be reporting back from Lake of the Ozarks. We'll be reporting back, or I'm sorry, Table Rock Lake, not Lake of the Ozarks, from in the Ozarks in Missouri. And also, I'll report back to you how the drive-in was with Transylvania, or Hotel Transylvania 3, and maybe I'll get to look at a little bit of Jurassic Park. I'm not going to guarantee that, though. Going to be a little late.
Keep us posted.
I'm going to keep. So we'll get back to that. So it should be a packed show next week. So until then, Mr. Ben Harley, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com. Your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.